Welcome back, everyone, to the Geeks, Geezers, and Googleization Show, the home of Googleization Nation, where we talk with HR and business thought leaders about the crazy shift going on in the world of business, technology, and HR. Here's your host, Ira Wolf, and co-host, Joyce Joya.
Hey, welcome back, everyone, to the Geeks, Geezers, and Googleization Show. Thanks for being part of Googleization Nation. We're in our second segment today. Now we've got Mike Spramuli. Hopefully Mike is here, and we're going to bring Mike on. There's Mike.
Mike is here. Hello.
There's some new softwares that you've been playing with a little bit on both networking and on virtual meetings. So what have you found?
Sure. So the necessity is a mother of invention. And I believe these platforms were around prior to the pandemic, but it certainly accelerated their growth. I mean, look what we saw with Zoom. Now it's a household word. But I actually participated in two different events. I was just a participant, meaning I didn't run these events, but they were very interesting. And I thought I'd share how they could impact your audience. And one of them was a virtual networking session. And the site that this happened on was Hopin, HOPIN.com. By the way, I have no financial interest or affiliation in anything I'm talking about today. Just want to disclose that. And what's neat about Hopin is a platform where they enable you to do, I believe, sure, you can customize it to however you'd like, but you can actually do speed networking there where the system will randomly pair you up with someone. You've got 3 minutes to chat, and it's video based like we're doing here. So I'm looking at the person I'm speaking with and vice versa. In 3 minutes, you can figure out if there is any potential to do some business down the road. And if there is, you click a button and you automatically exchange contact information so that you can then follow up later online. Now, if you find that there is no synergy whatsoever, you don't accept the invite and you never see that person again. Now, for those of you who are disc literate out there, for high Ds, high assertives, high impatient people, I was loving this. I got to network with 28 people in 2 hours, and the quality of those conversations and leads were far better than any type of in-person Chamber of Commerce networking event, because you're not stuck in a rabbit hole where you're trying to pull yourself away from someone. Everyone knows the game rules. 3 minutes. Have your pitch ready, listen to their pitch, and if there's something to follow up on, you move forward. So I was really, I think that's the thing to come. And from a networking standpoint, no, it doesn't replace face-to-face, but it has a lot of benefits that you don't have to get yourself embroiled with walking around at, a cocktail event or those types of things. And it keeps it organized too. How many times have we gone to networking meetings and you got a fistful of business cards and you didn't write who was what on the back of the card, and then you're trying to figure out when you get back to the office, now, who was that person again? It alleviated all that. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that with regards to how people are connected. And
Mike, what kind of company sponsored that?
Well, it was a specific industry. I don't want to get too particular, not that it's a big deal, but it was just a specific sector. It could be any vertical or lateral market, really. And this was a group of industry folks in a sub-industry. So you're kind of pre-qualifying yourself before you get involved with this. And they charged a nominal fee. I think it was like $15 to participate, which, was very economical. They did have the ability on that platform also to do some keynotes and stream to the group at large. I don't want to just indicate that it was networking only. That was the big chunk of it. But then there was a lot more functionality that was built in there. So like anything else, the success of those events ultimately depends on the composition of the group who was in there. And this actually happened to be right. It wasn't tilted one way or another where there wasn't any opportunity to cross promote. It was actually a very well mix. And I think that's what made it so successful, at least from my perspective.
So this was an association meeting then, is what you're saying? Yeah,
it's similar to that. Yeah, it's an industry subset. So it pre-screens, so to speak. If, for example, someone in the automotive industry would not have been a good fit for that environment. And this up front because what Hopin does, and you can go to their site now, they got dozens of events that are there. They even promote the event publicly. So you certainly wouldn't want to rely on them only to promote the event. but that's another mechanism to get people in the door, in addition to other company, to the event sponsor promoting through their list and social and other outlets.
So Mike, on one of the last segments, we talked about Clubhouse.
Mhm.
And, you know, sort of I mean, it can be networking, there's engagement, but there's not a way to communicate within that event, but you can make connections and listen to people. But I was exposed about 2 weeks ago to another one called Lunch Club. Have you heard about Lunch Club?
Nope, haven't heard of that one. The stuff moves so quick.
Like so good. So here's the millennial and the baby boomer body.
There you go.
So, Lunch Club is one-on-ones, networking, and so you join Lunch Club, and I think it's by invitation only.
You need to send me an invite
too. I got to see if I can even send an invite, because I was introduced to that. I will definitely do that, and then you select a time to meet, and they will pair you with somebody else who is available during that time. And prior to that, obviously, when you register, you're putting in what are your interests. Is it business or hobbies or fishing or whatever? But it's more of a business. It is a business networking. So you get paired up with somebody who might have a similar interest or complementary interest, and then you say, what do you want to get out of it? And it could be, I just want to meet people. I'm looking for introductions. I'm looking to network. I'm looking to grow my business. And they try to use whatever their algorithm is to pair that up too. So I had my first meeting last week, and I got 2 introductions out of it. It was like, hey, I know 2 people, you know, what do you do? What do you do? And I had 2 introductions after that, that people might be interested, you know, in talking. So it's really a one-on-one. I mean, you're going to make a commitment of, you know, 15 or 30 minutes to chat with somebody, but you can also decline it, you know, and go from there. But it's a one-on-one. So
now, is it video and audio or just audio only?
They have their own platform. So when you sign up, they control the dynamics. So it's not that we go out and say, hey, do you want to meet on Zoom or good meet, you know, go to meeting or whatever it is. You go to the lunchroom, they take care of that. So you're in their platform.
Nice.
I don't know what they're doing with the data behind the scenes on that.
Well, you know they're selling it. I can guarantee you that. If you can't identify the product, then the product is probably you.
Yeah, so you got Hopin and
now
what's the other one?
There was another one. Now this is totally different. This was a virtual trade show, full trade show, different industry, but from an association type of perspective. And this platform was called Hyperfair, HYPERFAIR. Now, what's nuts about this is if you've ever looked at the Second Life, I don't even know if that's still around anymore, but in Second Life, you were able to have an avatar and wander around, you know, all these exotic places. I didn't get into Second Life that much.
It's called virtual reality these days. Oculus. Okay. You can do that in your Oculus headset.
Oculus. So this was pretty amazing because you get an avatar that you get to customize and you can physically walk around the trade show floor. Now, you see other people walking around. You want to know if they're a potential business connection? You click on their head and an info box shows up above them. And this person's just looking to get into the industry. All right, well, they're not going to end up needing anything that I've got, so I'm moving along. But you keep clicking around and you can see what their profile contains. And then if you have a connection with them to do some business, same type of deal. You can exchange business cards. But this is a much more robust platform. That networking piece on Hopin and their virtual meetings, that's good for quick and dirty type stuff. But this was a multi-day trade show, very much like the real deal. When you walk a trade show floor, they have meetings that you can attend, or not meetings, but presentations. And they have different salons that you can go in. You can pop into one. If that's not tickling your fancy, you can go into another one. They did have, very similar to what you experienced today, Ira, the live chat function. So some people who did pre-record their session, they're actually in that chat giving more feedback to specific questions that people might have. And I tell you, it got me thinking, you know, think about trade shows. They've been a staple for probably 100 years. But what an inefficient way to do things. You got to lug all this stuff to a trade show. You got to set up booths, spend thousands of dollars to have things designed. Then people have to attend and all this. And yeah, they're fun. I enjoy going to a good trade show just as much as the next person. But I was able to do this from my office virtually, still hang out for 3 days, and, you know, pop in and out whenever I needed to. It's going to be interesting to see how much of that technology takes over brick and mortar trade shows moving down the road, because from an efficiency standpoint, I was very impressed. You can cover a lot of ground and not waste a lot of time, and your feet don't hurt after 3 days.
I'll tell
And
you.
for women who wear heels, that's particularly appreciated.
For men who don't, it's appreciated.
Yeah, Mike, I mean, you're dead on. You know, the conference season is starting. I said I wasn't going to do as much. And then, you know, I submitted a lot of applications. Unfortunately, I got accepted. And some of them are saying you can still be virtual, but some are requiring you to be on site. And this was more on a personal thing, just to make flights to visit my mother in a couple of weeks. It's a pain in the butt.
Oh,
I mean,
totally.
there's not as many flights as there used to be. A lot of them to consolidate. There's not as many as non-stops. So it's a longer engagement. And so, you know, one is just getting there. Mm-hmm. And then I also noticed, I don't know if this is uniform, but when I went to do a car rental, now if I'm going for a conference, I usually don't do it, but where I was going, the car rentals have tripled in cost. I don't know why. Yeah. I mean, we used to pay in Florida, we used to pay $30, $35 maybe a day. $90 was the cheapest I can get.
Wow.
And I looked at like, hey, maybe it's the weekend. And it wasn't the weekend. I mean, it was like I kept going week after week, I was curious. So the rates it's going to be more expensive to travel. It's going to be more pain in the butt to travel. It's going to be inconvenient. You know, I'm supposed to speak in Las Vegas in August. It's a 4.5-hour flight. And now I've got to take 2 flights to get there, which means 9 hours or 10 hours. I'm going to be in a mask during that time. I mean, so yeah, there's lots of reasons I don't think the conferences are coming back to where they was. That's not good for places like Las Vegas. That depended on, millions.
Yeah, they're not thrilled.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of convention space that they're trying to fill, but I imagine it's probably, and this is just me forecasting as best as I can, looking at how things have been going. It's probably going to be a hybrid thing, at least for the next couple of years. Maybe in 3 to 5 years, when COVID is completely under control, we'll go back to the
next one.
Hopefully until the next one. Then they'll go back to full force in person. But it definitely, like everything, it has its weaknesses, but it certainly has its pluses. And I was amazed, because when I did that first hop in speed networking, it was a $15 gamble. It was like, this was 2 hours well spent, because it was just direct and to the point, and you're not having to sit there figuring out, how do I get out of this inane conversation that is going to go nowhere? I mean, a trade show and networking event is there for business purposes. Social life I get elsewhere. So
if you're like Mike, and you're hyperkinetic, then try hopping. And if you want more one-on-one, try Lunch Club.
I like that. Yeah, I will check out Lunch Club.
Certainly check out the conferences. And I think we're going to see more in that, which is also an interesting segue. Not only did we have a segue today from what it was like to network, but next week our guest is Angela Dayton, Dr. Angela Dayton. And she's heavily involved in VR, especially in education, virtual reality. She's actually located on not her company, but where she's located is in Oklahoma on Cherokee Nation. And they deliver they didn't miss a beat during the pandemic, because it's all virtual reality. The students are all virtual. So that's our guest next week. So that'll be a continuation of this conversation, as they all are. Mike,
what a great investment by the Cherokee Nation, huh?
Yeah, you think about public and private schools, and then you have Cherokee Nation is leading the pack, is one of leading the pack, especially in education, which is desperately in need of some help. So we'll be excited to hear about that. Mike, always good to see you. Hopefully you feel better. I appreciate you being here. We'll be talking.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to chat with you both. And who knows what'll happen in a month? You know, things move quick. We may be talking about cloning. So
no, please no. Thank you, Mike.
We've been trying that for a while. So
I know.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
You know, I was thinking about it, and it's possible that one of the reasons that the car rentals are more expensive is that they're taking extra precautions due to COVID. But double?
Yeah, triple. I mean, but even hotels, and they range at times, but even the hotels and travel and I heard for concerts, the live events that are opening this summer are going to be completely ticketless. There's no touching. I don't know what's going to happen with the refreshments and souvenirs and things, but interesting, you're going to have a completely touchless experience, which also means what happens to people that aren't comfortable using smartphones and technology. How are they going to get in to these events? So it's catching up. And that's what we talk about on Geeks Geezers Googlization. Talk about the convergence of business, technology, and people. And for some people it works, and for some it doesn't. Thank you, Joyce, for stepping in today. Really appreciate it for kind of doing the launch. And I've got to go back and listen to that conversation. It was one of those topics that I love to be involved in. And I'm going to have to listen to Michael Barbera. And thanks to Mike Day. Thanks to Mike Tremoli. Mike
I love that.
And check out Hopin, Hopin, and check out Lunch Club if you're interested in some networking. There are some of the new trends there. For those of you who are regular listeners on Geeks Geezers Googlization, thank you very much. Thank you for being part of Googlization Nation. If you're not subscribed yet, please do. It's free. You'll get updates about this and some new upcoming webinars that I've got planned for May and June. Didn't have those quite ready for today yet. Until next, and make sure you listen to us on podcasts.
And thanks to Ngomu, our sponsor, and Success Performance Solutions.
Thank you for reminding me to do that, Joyce. Until next week, don't let the shift hit your plans.